Morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. So I'm just going to hand over to our host, Daryl, now to start the proceedings.
Very good. Thanks, James. Good morning, everybody. My name is Daryl Brisline. I'm the Business Development Manager for Enhance in Ireland, but here today just to really act as MC for this session. This session is all about diving in on the new release that's coming from Microsoft in relation to the new release of Dynamics 365 Sales and Dynamics 365 Customer Service. Just service on the screen there, but customer service, the product. I'm here just to do 2 slides, really. I'm going to hand over really to Rachel Sayre, our Senior Dynamics Consultant, who's an awful lot of experience putting these solutions in place into the sector, particularly the charity sector, of course. Also joined by James Glover. Most of you will know James Glover, our CTO, and James is here really to act as cover and answer questions that you might have as we go through the course of the presentation. Rachel, if you don't mind, next slide. Okay, so really just look, what we want to talk about then are what Microsoft has introduced in Dynamics 365 Sales. So if just you might remember Dynamics 365 Sales is one of the 4 primary Dynamics 365 CRM-like solutions. That's sales, customer service, field service, and professional services. But really we're here just to talk about sales and customer services this morning. But also then we want to touch on the Copilot capability or solution that Microsoft is heavily promoting at the moment, and you might have seen quite a bit of literature on that, either via us, via Microsoft Direct, or via other angles. But Copilot is basically an AI or artificial intelligence based capability that sits with Dynamics 365 Sales, customer service. There's one for each of them. It also sits with Exchange, Outlook, Word. So there's a Copilot really for everything. So you're going to see an awful lot of that in terms of information over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months from Microsoft. So we're going to touch on it specifically as it relates to Dynamics 365 Sales and Dynamics 365 Customer Service. So that's really what our session today, 45 minutes, a little less because we'll stop and give time for questions. But also, if you don't mind, you could use the Q&A button in Teams to ask any questions as we progress through the presentation. So do feel free to ask questions in that manner as well. And that's really it then. Just that's what we're going to cover. And the person who's going to do the work is Rachel. I'm going to hand over to you now, Rachel. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Daryl. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Let's just move on to the first part of the session then. So the first area we're going to have a look at, as Daryl says, is the kind of sales core capabilities. Just a disclaimer, this isn't all the features that are coming. This is just kind of some of the more interesting and kind of ones I felt were, really nice to show today. So there are additional features, but these are kind of some of the highlights. So 2 areas we're going to have a look at in sales is analysing opportunities. So we can now group them and we can aggregate their values. And we've also got the ability to customise the lead qualification process. So let me just move on to opportunities. Just a bit of a disclaimer as well. For some of these items we're going to show today, we don't have access to them in our demo system. We do have screenshots, so we'll be able to explain what the features are going to be doing, but I can't demo them. So we do have screenshots, as I say, from the Microsoft release notes. Apologies for the quality of the images. This is what we were provided with by Microsoft. So as I say, we're going to start with opportunities. So you can see here, we can now group opportunities and aggregate their values. This is one of the ones that I am able to show you in the system. So if I just pop the system open here. Okay, so we can see down here at the bottom, we have a list of all my open opportunities. And we have this lovely chart here at the top, which is grouping my opportunities by the estimated close date. So it doesn't have to be the estimated close date. It could be by the probability. It could be by the account, kind of whatever you decide. But it just makes it really visual. So you can see, OK, I have a whole bunch of opportunities where the estimated close date, was the end of last year. So my sales team haven't updated those opportunities. You know, that's in the past. We need to make sure that they're putting future dates in. The other nice feature is these aggregated values up here at the top. So we can see the total pipeline value, the number of deals in the pipeline. And again, this is fully customizable. So if I move over here, we can edit the metrics. So I could say, actually, I don't want to see the lost amount. I could delete that, or I could create my own metric, and, you know, I could pick which field I wanted to show up there. So I might want to show the budget amount, and I want to see the average. And then that's available for whoever's looking at this view. So really powerful. Again, you know, an improvement on just kind of a list and a chart at the side, and hopefully a really nice way for people to have an overview of opportunities. Okay, just minimize the screen. Okay, so just a bit of additional information on there, explaining what that feature is going to do. So I'm just going to move on to the lead qualification process. So this is actually one of my favorite features that is coming out. So lead qualification, for those of you that use sales, hopefully you know when you qualify a lead, it will automatically create an opportunity. Now, you've been quite limited in the past as to what happens with that opportunity when you qualify the lead. So this is going to be a huge improvement. Basically now you can decide whether it creates an account record, whether it creates a contact record, and whether it creates an opportunity when you hit that qualify button. You also can map which fields get pulled from the lead to the opportunity. So by default, you have the topic, the estimated close date, the budget amount. But if you wanted to add additional fields into there, you now have that option. And then probably the most exciting bit that I know that a lot of people have been asking about over the years, when you qualify a lead at the moment, it will automatically create one opportunity. You're now going to have the option to create multiple opportunities from one lead. So it's going to mean that if somebody rings up and let's say they've shown interest in 2 of the products that you offer, when you hit the qualify button, you can create 2 opportunities, 1 for each product, and follow that sales journey specifically for each product without anybody having to manually enter any information. And then the last part of that is you have, it can create a handover summary as well. So when you create the opportunity, it gives a summary of everything that's happened on the lead. So again, it means people aren't having to go back into records and kind of look through all the tasks and emails related to that lead. So down here, you can see, again, the features it's going to offer. Okay. So we're just going to move on now to Microsoft Copilot for Sales. So this is some of the features that will be available within Dynamics using the Copilot functionality that Darryl mentioned at the beginning. So I think this is probably my favorite feature that is coming out. It's the new homepage, which I'll show you in a second. The ability to get a account summary when you're in an account record. The ability to use Copilot to show information about past deals that you've won. So if you're in an opportunity record and you want to see similar opportunities that have been successful, you can do that at a click of a button. And also the ability to use documents that you have saved in your SharePoint to help with opportunities that you're currently working on. So let's move to the homepage feature. So as I mentioned, this is probably my favourite feature that's coming out. The aim of this eventually is to replace dashboards. So dashboards haven't had a lot of development over the years. They've stayed pretty much the same. So it's been lists and charts. There was the Power BI updates to it, but it was predominantly still lists and charts. But this new homepage is going to be asking people to ask questions and give prompts rather than having a fixed set of information that they need to look at. So you can see from this image, I know it's a little bit blurry, so apologies, but you can see here we've got this bar in the middle that you can ask a question. You can click on any of these items, so you could say show me my pipeline, show me what's recently been assigned to me, show me emails that I need to follow up. And, you know, it's meant to be interactive, so it's not for each user, they have the same set of information that they see. It will be, as I say, dynamic and interactive. So as you're working on different things throughout the day, then the information you're getting on your homepage should update and change.
Yeah, and Rachel, just to chip in here, the really nice thing on this is it's giving users aspects of the full-blown Copilot license because you have a sales license. So there's getting a use case now where people with sales licenses and customer service licenses will be able to start using the big toys that's only been available via full Microsoft 365 Copilot today. So we're starting to see a blend of basically added value on top of those licenses. So a lot of this isn't additional charging, it's just being included in what you've already purchased today. Sorry, Rachel, for cutting in.
No, thank you. And just remaining on that homepage theme, we've got another image here. So this is just an example of the kind of thing you could ask it. So here it says, find leads that showed an interest in non-alcoholic beverages and visited the website recently. And this is the kind of look and feel that you're going to get. So you'll get a list then of all the leads that meet that criteria. So again, just kind of listing out some of the things that it's going to offer. So it'll be on your homepage. You can stay on top of changes, find out about any follow-up activities you need to do, get prepared for your meetings, stay on top of your pipeline, read the latest news about your account, and chat with Copilot. Okay, so let's move on to the account summary. So this is using Copilot, like the Copilot panel, when you're in an account record. So again, apologies for the kind of quality of this image, but if you can see here, up at the top, it's showing a summary of the account. So again, great for new starters. So if you've got a new salesperson joining the team and they need to get up to speed really quickly with a bunch of accounts, then this Copilot feature will be really useful to them. So it will give them a summary of the account. It will show any recent changes. So we can see here, like the estimated close date was updated, a new lead has been created. It'll show kind of key information about the account as well. So the most recent purchase, the end of year campaign. And it just means, again, they're not having to dig in lots of different places to find this information. It's just a nice snapshot at the side of the account. Additional to that, so that's kind of the account summary, but you will also be able to view related tables. So we can see on this image, it's that same panel, the same Copilot panel, but a little bit further down, it's then showing related opportunities. So you can see an overview of the account, of the related opportunities, of the related leads, which you can see here. If you use cases, if you're also using customer service, you can see, okay, this account has 5 cases open, you know, what's going on there? Are they complaints? Are they compliments? And then as an admin, you know, you can define what's available in that panel as well. So, you know, if you don't use cases, you don't have to have that available as an option. Okay. So this Copilot feature is going to be really useful again for new starters, or if you're trying to upskill anybody in the business. So you can see here, this is showing an opportunity record, and we've got the Copilot panel for the opportunity. So if I just put some information on the screen. So if you can see this here, it says show similar opportunities. And what we're doing is we're asking Copilot to kind of help us out. So we're working on an opportunity, and we're not sure how to progress this opportunity further. We can ask Copilot to show us similar examples that have been successful in the past, or show us similar examples that haven't been successful. So you can easily go and look at those opportunities, see what that other person did, and hopefully repeat those results. So you can ask it to look for similar opportunities based on the industry, based on products, based on the account, geography, not limited to those things, but that's just some examples. So as I said, leverage past success. And then the final one on Sales Copilot is using documents, so sales documents, to help with your opportunities. So again, this is an opportunity form, and this is the Copilot panel at the side. And what we've asked it this time is to show me similar products. So on this opportunity, I've added some products, and it's searched the related SharePoint site for this Dynamics 365 instance and found these 2 sales documents that are related to the products on this opportunity. So it could be things like price lists, it could be product descriptions, it could just be some sales literature that mentions those products. But again, really helpful if you've got documents in lots of different locations, it's just going to find them for you. Okay. That's the end of the sales section. Do we have any questions in the chat that we need to?
Nothing in the chat, Rachel.
Perfect. I think that was a no, so thank you. Okay, let's move on to customer service then. Okay, so kind of looking at the core Dynamics capabilities again to begin with. So the first item is the enhanced attachment experience when composing emails, and improvements to the outbound dialing experience. Okay. So when users are sending emails from within Dynamics, previously it didn't necessarily have all the features that Outlook offered. So I think this is going to try and mimic some of the Outlook capabilities, but within Dynamics. So let me just get to the items. Okay, so some of the things that you'll be able to do now from within Dynamics 365. You'll be able to add attachments to emails by dragging and dropping. You can copy the attachments to multiple emails. You can bulk download and delete the attachments. So that's actually really powerful. If your storage is going through the roof, often it is email attachments. PDFs can be quite hefty. So you can now bulk download them, put them maybe like in a SharePoint location, delete them from Dynamics without having to delete the emails they're attached to as well. You can see the size of the attachments from within Dynamics. Give you a bit more option in how you viewing these emails as well. You can toggle between the tile and grid views. You can export the attachment details to Excel. And then finally, as I say, it's trying to replicate kind of Outlook capabilities. If you're creating, composing an email and you mention the word attachment, when you go to send the email and you haven't attached anything, you will get a pop-up, a prompt to say, you know, please remember to attach something to this email. And last but not least, you can add the attachments before you send the email to. So moving on to the outbound dialing experience. Okay, so if you have users that are making a lot of outbound calls, hopefully some of these features will be really beneficial to them. So you can see on this pane here, this is showing outbound calls that have been made, and this image down here is showing the country, region and the code. So some of the improvements, the number formatting is going to be a lot better. It's going to actually have formatting in the field to stop people kind of entering the wrong information. It's going to detect the country, region. We're going to have this recent call list. So, you know, if you've been making calls all day, or, you know, you've made 10 calls in the last hour and you can't remember who it was you called, you can bring up your recent calls. You can see that you've got the names of who you called as well. And then you can just click to kind of call that number again. So, you know, if you've called someone 10 minutes ago, rather than having to find their record again to call them, you can just bring up your recents list. Again, some kind of more improvements around the country and region. And also, when users are making their outbound calls, they can now decide which number they're making the call from. So what the customer is going to see when they're receiving the call. And depending on the user, again, it will default the country, region selection. So maybe not useful for everybody, but if you've got lots of different users in lots of different locations, then you might want to say, okay, if they're based in Nottinghamshire, it's this code, for example. Okay. So let's move on to Copilot for Service. So 3 items here that we can have a look at. So browse and update CRM records during Teams meetings. Generate a summary for cases from related emails and save them to CRM. And then provide prompts when you're working in Outlook for things that you need to do and update in CRM. Okay, so the first one then, so browse and update CRM records during Teams meetings. So again, I think this is going to be really powerful. You can see in this image here, we're in a meeting and there's the Copilot for Service panel on the right hand side. So things that you can do whilst you're in the Teams meeting. So I'm in a meeting with a customer, you know, we're chatting. I can bring up their contact details, so I can see what their job title is, you know, I can see which company they work for if I didn't know, for example. But not only can you see their contact details, you can also update them at the same time. So if you're having a chat with somebody and, you know, they tell you actually, oh, I recently got a promotion, rather than having to go into CRM, find their contact record, from within your Teams meeting, you can then just update their job title in here. And you can also open CRM records from the meeting. So let's say I joined a call, like in this example with Daisy. She was a customer already in my CRM system. But then somebody else joined the call from her company that we didn't have on CRM, we could add that contact record directly from the Teams meeting as well. So going to save people loads of time, they're not kind of clicking about, it's all in one place. Okay, so this is actually, I think, going to be really useful. So this example here you can see this is Outlook, this is an email trail, and then we've got Copilot here on the right hand side. So let's say, you know, there's an email trail that's 50 emails deep and you've just been CC'd into it. So somebody needs your advice on something, but there's already been 50 emails in the email trail. What you don't want to have to do is read through 50 emails. You know, obviously it takes a lot of time. Nobody's got that much time. So what Copilot is going to do now is offer you a summary. So it will provide a summary of the email trail. So we can see in this example, it's telling us that Joanna is a customer and she's noticed that the coffee machine has stopped working. It's also going to provide prompts. So if I wanted to, I could create a case record directly from Outlook and it would add this case summary into that case record, which nicely takes us into the final slide, which is about prompts within Outlook for CRM. So as I just showed on the previous slide, that was prompting us to add a case record based on those emails, but there are other prompts that users are going to get when they're using Outlook. So this example here is showing an appointment, a meeting record, and we get this little prompt here to say, save this meeting into Dynamics. So more often than not, you know, all the goodwill in the world, people are working in CRM, they're also working in Outlook. They don't necessarily always remember to add their appointments that they're adding in Outlook into CRM. So you end up with a bit of a mismatch of information. What this is trying to do is, as I say, prompt people and just say, okay, you know, you've created a meeting, also add this to CRM. You know, you've sent an email to somebody, also add this to CRM, so that, you know, what your users are actually doing day to day and the data that you have in CRM match. So some of the prompts that you'll see, so add a contact, save an email, save meetings, and save summaries. That isn't the full list, but as you saw on the previous screen, it was saying add a case, but it's just a flavour of some of the things that you'll be able to do. So that brings me to the end of my slides, and I'll open the floor for any questions.
Thanks, Rachel. I've got nothing on the QA panel yet.
No, I don't think we have, Daryl, so I think if we go on to the next slide.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so if there are any questions for Rachel, James, myself, afterwards, look, you can contact us through the normal channels, either directly through our emails or just through our regular contact information through our website. But before we finish, couple of just a quick look at some of the other events that we have planned over the next few months. Quite comprehensive, as you can see here. If you're part of our customer base and is in the charity sector, we have our quarterly roundtable meeting. This one is virtual. Some of them are on site, but the next one is virtual, and that's happening next week, 5th of March. So please hit our website events page at the end there to register for that event. Then we're going more and more into that AI and Copilot space that Rachel focused heavily on today, but more specifically for nonprofits on the 6th of March. That's a webinar similar to this. Then we're going back live, and we'll be in London at the Royal College of Physicians, Central London, for the Elevate event there. And we will be there with our own table, and we'll be presenting as well. James will be presenting at that with Tori Cassie, our nonprofit director. Then we switch targets a little bit for the next two events. We'll be focusing on the ERP, our finance platforms that we also promote and sell. We've got an event in Dublin in the Microsoft offices, South Dublin, Sandyford, and also in the Microsoft offices in London. They're end of March, end of April, respectively. Back to the webinars then, and for those in the charity sector, again, we'll be looking at some of the newer capabilities that are coming out with the Microsoft fundraising and engagement add-on. So that F&E, we call it, that F&E add-on is Microsoft's basically donor donation management solution that sits on top of Dynamics 365, and they are adding capability to it. And this particular likelihood to donate is really propensity modeling. So it's all around, you're trying to determine, you know, what makes a good donor, what makes a good supporter, looking at the various parameters that exist with that. So that's worth joining us if you are in the sector late April. Then we're into, similarly with the NFP sector, grant management, grant success. We're looking at some of the really the tools, the Power Platform tools, what we can do extra, what you might have specific to your own requirements that aren't been met by out-of-the-box capability. So we can use the Power Platform tool set that Microsoft makes available that sits well with Dynamics 365 to further enhance your own solution. And in this case, particularly around grant management and the whole process of, you know, tracking grants from when you first apply through to reporting on them after the fact. And then finally, we finish up with another on-premise CFG Charity Finance Group, another event, Central London. Again, we will be in attendance and presenting at that event. So look, quite a lot to do over the next few months. Keep an eye on stuff. Everything that we are going to be attending, if it's not there in that list, if we add new ones, just keep an eye on our events page, the URL there at the bottom of the page. And that's really it. That's just to say thank you very much for attending our session here today. Any questions, like I say, come back to us through our various contact channels. And thank you very much.